The NBA draft is set to take place this Thursday, so with it being so close by, let's talk about 3 prospects the Raptors should really be eyeing with their 13th overall pick. What's up everybody, it's JJ Buckets. I've told you what we're doing today, so before I fully hop into things, obviously usual drill, just make sure you're leaving a like on the video, it helps the algorithm out a ton, and I'm sure you folks know that from the amount of times I say it. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here, plus if you plan on doing any responsible sports betting in the near future, just make sure to check out my link in the description below. So for these conversations today, let's just assume the Raptors don't make any trade ups, to the potential number 3 pick or number 2, whatever the case is, and they're just selecting with the 13th overall pick. With that in mind, the first player I want to talk about today is Cason Wallace. Now this is a guy that I touched upon way back when on this channel. I'm still a fan of his now like I was then. There's things to like about him that I really just look at and I think, man, this guy would be a seamless plug-in to the Raptors. And let's talk about some of those things, right? First of all, one of the things that I like most about Cason Wallace is he is a great point of attack defender, and I think the Raptors could really benefit from that defensively. Obviously you have OG Anunoby, you have gifted defenders on this team. Pascal Siakam's pretty good, assuming Jakob Poeltl is back. He's obviously a talented defender as well, but I really do think one of the areas that Toronto suffered defensively was maybe at the point of attack specifically, and I think having Cason Wallace fill that role is a tremendous get for this team. On top of those things, he's just a good all-around player overall. He has high basketball IQ and he displays that on the court all the time, and I'm a huge fan of that aspect of his game. Like, there are times where you can just look at players, you can look at the way they play on the court, and you can tell who has a good read on the game. I think Cason Wallace has a great read on the game. And on top of those things, like, he's really a take what the defense gives you type of offensive player, and I really do like that. I think that would fit seamlessly with this team. I think he can both play within the offense as the lead ball handler and also play some off ball. He's a very good off ball shooter, especially on the catch when he's shooting standstill. And I think, guys like Scotty Barnes, Pascal Siakam, obviously again, assuming they're still here, in Siakam's case at least, Barnes will definitely be here. Those guys will definitely benefit from having somebody like Cason on the perimeter to knock down shots. So I really do think, just in terms of fit, in terms of the need that this team has, where potentially Fred's out the door, potentially Gary Trent Jr. might be gone, but even if those guys aren't gone, like, bench point guard is definitely a thing that this team still needs. And yeah, like, should Fred return, he can run the second unit, and then obviously once Fred is ready to move on, or once Fred is aging out, Cason can definitely take over that mantle. There's few guys in this draft I like more than Cason Wallace, and I would love to see him as a Toronto Raptor on draft night. Grady Dick is another guy I would like to see in a Raptors uniform as well. If you watched the Wards Report and you saw the mock draft video that we did together, which if you haven't, by the way, go check that out. It's a good video, in my opinion at least. I talked about the fact that I do really believe, if it's not the biggest need, it's definitely one of the biggest needs on the Raptors. Shooting is something this team needs desperately. They were one of the worst shooting teams in the NBA last season, and somebody like Grady Dick could really change that for this team. He is a tremendous shooter. You can make an argument he's the best shooter in the draft this year, and he's capable enough at other aspects of the game as well. Like, he's a capable defender, although not elite. But just the shooting he would bring to this team, I really do think would be invaluable in terms of spacing for guys like Barnes, for guys like Siakam. He's a seamless plug-in to the system, and the value that he would bring for your team is tremendous. The only downside, or I guess the biggest downside that I could say with Grady Dick is I don't really think he has, a superstar ceiling or anything like that. I don't really envision him becoming that elite of a player, I would say. But if you're content with taking a guy that is going to be a high-level starter, maybe a borderline all-star in a best-case scenario, Grady Dick is a really good option. And again, I think having that shooting that he would bring to the table opens up so many things tremendously. He's another guy that I think plays within the offense really well too, and doesn't try to force things, and just the incredible array in which he can get his shots off is tremendous. Now, I wouldn't be surprised if Grady Dick is off the board by the time that the Raptors are picking, but should he slide to that number 13 pick and should he still be available, I really do believe Toronto should take a long and hard look at Grady Dick. If you want to go in the direction of boom or bust with that number 13 pick and you want to swing for the fences for a high-end caliber player with superstar potential, Nick Smith Jr. is probably your guy, right? So because his campaign was derailed by injuries a little bit, his draft stock obviously took a hit. He was one of the more hyped up prospects, I would say, in college. And again, the injuries kind of hampered him a little bit. But some team out there, and potentially the Raptors, is still gonna look at the high-end potential that Nick Smith Jr. has, and they're gonna take a chance on him, and deservedly so. He has the potential to just be a very capable scorer, a very, very capable shot creator, and obviously I don't think anybody amongst Raptors fans would disagree. Shot creation on the perimeter is something that this team lacks, and that is a role he can definitely fill. He has more upside, I would say, than the other two picks here that I've mentioned in Cason and Grady. I would actually give no hesitation on that, and the fact that if you want to swing for the fences, if you want to go for the highest potential player, Nick Smith Jr. is probably going to be that, because best case scenario, you got a superstar on your hands. Worst case scenario, you probably have, a six man off the bench that's going to come in and get his buckets. But again, there's room to grow in his game. I think he can be a capable defender, more than capable defender. There's room to grow for his playmaking, but obviously you look at the shot creation from the perimeter, that's really the thing that entices you the most. So if you're looking for that boomer bust candidate, if you want to see if you can take a chance on him and develop him into a superstar, this is probably your guy around that range. Now, whether or not the Raptors want to go safer with this pick in terms of getting a player with a lower floor, like probably one of the first two candidates, or whether or not the Raptors want to take a chance on somebody that has a bit more of that high-end ceiling, that's going to be the decision that they have to make with this pick. And should it be the latter, Nick Smith Jr. is probably as good a candidate as any at this spot. So there you have it. Those are my three picks, I would say, for the number 13 pick, should they be available. Obviously, nobody has a crystal ball with this kind of stuff, so if I miss, I miss. So be it. I apologize. But I'm also curious as to what you folks think at the number 13 pick. Who do you think the Raptors should go after? This should be a fun comment section, so please let me hear it in the comment section below. This is one of the most interesting parts of the offseason, in my opinion, the NBA draft. It's one that I really look forward to and I really enjoy. So let me know all your thoughts about the draft, what you want the Raptors to do. Yeah. Other than that, folks, usual drill, reiterated. Like the video if you're still watching. It takes like a second to hit that like button. It makes such a huge difference for me, so thank you. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Other than that, folks, it's been JJ Buckets. It's been a pleasure, and I will see everybody next time.